Let me tell you something real. There's one major wall standing between you and the life that you've been dreaming about. And it's not the economy or your circumstances or some other external force. It's simply your mindset. And if you can shift that, everything changes. Just trust me on this. Give me the next 10 minutes and I'll tell you how it all works out. Because I know how it feels. I know you're frustrated. And I know you've got these big dreams and these goals that light a fire in you. And when you think about them, it's so alive, but you don't know how to make them real. And every time you try, it feels overwhelming, like you're carrying this huge weight. So what happens? You do nothing. Not because you don't care, but because you're stuck in the loop of overthinking and you're paralyzed by the enormity of what lies ahead. So I've been there. I still go there sometimes. And I felt that same frustration, that same guilt of wasting my potential. And just being honest, it is a terrible feeling for me. And I don't want to go there. So I'm here just to tell you that it doesn't have to stay that way. That change isn't as hard as you might think. And in fact, you can start shifting your life right now during this 10 minutes. So let me explain. So a couple of months ago, I hit a breaking point because it was, just in December, I think, just before the new year. And I sat there miserable, feeling stuck and drained and wondering how much longer, I could live like this, which was not approaching my dreams in an orderly fashion and utilizing my energy throughout the day for that to actually happen. And I said to myself, I can't do this anymore. I can't just wait for life to get better and for my circumstances to improve for me to actually do something. So as soon as I made the decision, my brain and my heart did what it always does. It overthought everything again. So I started thinking about how long it would take to see the results, how much effort I'd have to put in, and whether I even had what it takes. So the whole idea became so overwhelming that I wanted to give up before I even started. So does that sound familiar to you? I hope so, because just like always, in those moments, I reach for my phone, I start scrolling through Instagram for like the 30th time that day, about to let the day slip away again, but then something clicks. I remember this piece of advice that I've heard a while back, and I remember this because it was from my mom, and my mother died in August. So that's why I was having a difficult time. It was August 11th. And I know it was from her, and I always give thanks to my mom because the advice was so simple. She said, keep going, Kali. Don't stop. Just take one step every day. That piece of advice is always going to live in my heart, in my soul. Because it's one step, not 5, it's not 10, it's just one. And to keep going and to not stop. And hearing my mom over and over now that she's gone, it's saving me a lot of staring into the abyss of the screen of my phone with this massive mountain of dreams ahead of me, just beyond the thing, and my ability to focus on the summit of my dreams, right, can come with simple phrases like that. Just one step every day. Don't stop. Keep going. So don't let the size of what you're imagining overwhelm you. Just look at something that you can pursue and move through every day, one step at a time. And you need to look for that step. Where are you going to place your foot? That's all. So I decide to try it out for myself. I'm going to take a step every day. I don't need to do everything. I just need to do one thing that moves me forward. And I'll tell you what, that changed everything for me. So it's easy to get paralyzed by how big your goals are. But if you can break it down into small, bite-sized pieces, like one step at a time, keeping it simple, start small. It stops being overwhelming. Suddenly it feels manageable. And that's the crazy part, because once you start moving, you build momentum, and those small steps add up, and you get faster, faster than you'd think. Now, I'm not saying every step is going to feel easy or exciting. Some days you're going to wake up and want to do nothing. you feel tired or uninspired or even scared. Maybe you're grieving. There's pain there. Now, here's the beauty though with this mindset is it doesn't have to be giant leaps. It's something that you course with, something that moves like a wave. Even on the hardest days, you can remind yourself, I'm going to take one more step. This is all I need to do. And when you do that, you can keep moving no matter what. Because a large part of that too, and keep this in mind, is that you can't think about how overwhelming it is when you haven't even started. And you also can't base your decisions on how you choose to be who you are on other people's opinions. Right? So the pain of doing nothing is always going to feel worse than the pain of taking action. Always. So just think about that. The pain of doing nothing is always worse than the pain of taking action. Yes, stepping out of your comfort zone is uncomfortable. It's meant to be. It's scary. It's supposed to be. But you know what's worse than that? Is the slow creeping discomfort of staying the same. Of sitting with that feeling of wasted energy and time day after day and the potential slipping away. That pain will slowly, steadily eat you quietly in the background. So when you think about it, the choice is very clear. Temporary discomforts from taking action beats the endless discomfort of staying stuck. The temporary discomfort from taking action will always beat the endless discomfort of staying stuck. So here's the best part. Once you start taking these daily steps, you might surprise yourself because some days you'll feel so good about the progress you're making that you'll take 2 or 3 steps instead of 1. Other days you'll feel like you can barely even manage 1. That's okay. What matters is that you continuously make the steps forward. Because forward is forward. Even when you're resting and in those quiet moments, when you're just getting yourself attuned or acclimated or giving yourself necessary rest, you're not going backwards. The only way is forward. So for me, everything starts to shift when I embrace this mindset and I'm understanding myself emotionally, understanding myself mentally in my relationships, and also taking care of my body, being physically active. So start small with consistent steps towards your goals. It's not about achieving this massive overnight success. It's always going to be proving just to yourself that you can change the directory, that you could break out of this cycle of overthinking and actually make progress at any single moment. So I'm sharing this with you now because I have gone into this approach many years where every day I would just tell myself, this is the start of my day and this is what I'm going to do. And then from this moment that I've been sharing you about the story, I'm 2 months in and I'm going to tell you it works. It never fails. And I'm not saying I've, suddenly figured out, the entirety or like the keys are all available to me. What I'm saying is that when I've suddenly been able to reach my goals and I've become successful, it's because I gave myself purpose in the times when I felt painful. So I changed my pain into purpose. I've created momentum and I get to see progress little by little every single day. So to change your life, just start small and keep it simple. Take that first step, even if it feels insignificant at the time, because those small steps will lead, as we know, to big changes. 1 step becomes 2, 2 becomes 10. Before you know it, you're looking back and you're realizing how far you've come. Journaling is a good way to keep this consistent and reflective. So if you do feel stuck, here's what I want you to do. Stop focusing on the entirety of this massive mountain of achievement. Stop worrying about how long it's going to take or how hard it's going to be. Just focus on yourself. What's one thing I can do today to move closer to my goal? And then you do it. That's it. That's the secret. That's the key. And you don't have to be perfect in it. You don't have to have everything figured out. You just need to fail forward. Just start. Learn from your mistakes. Overcome challenges. Because once you do, you realize that you're capable of far more than you ever imagined. So just take that step. Start today. Remember, you don't have to climb the whole thing in one day. All you have to do is perceive yourself as this person that has the ability and the capacity, the competency to get yourself out of your rut and envision what this achievement will give to you in your life and to those that you care about. Because that's really what this is for me, is I want to be the best version of myself for the people that I love, because they've done so much for me. So that's my secret as well, that I'm not just doing it for myself, I'm doing it for everyone that loves me and that I love. I do it for my mom, I do it for, my baby, I do it for my wife. And it's just one step, one day, one moment at a time. And you got this.